All right, everybody, welcome to the June 2023 meeting of the Glendale Coin Club. I want to thank everyone for coming out here tonight, and of course, those watching at home on YouTube as well. I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting, but before we get going, we need to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. So, Ben, want to start us out with the Pledge of Allegiance? That'd be great. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Beth. All right, that was that. Ben's over there. He's still selling tickets for the 50/50 raffle and for our raffle that we do during our auction. So if you have not yet got tickets, make sure to do that. All right, other announcements. Got a couple shows coming up. I know there's a show coming up in Buena Park. I believe that's next weekend already. So I know we usually get a lot of club members down there supporting everybody and just seeing everybody at the show. So if you need information on that, we do have information on that right there, the flyers for that. So if you need one of those, see me on that. We also have the weekend after that. Actually, it's like 4 days after the Buena Park show starts the Long Beach show, which is the 22nd through the 24th. So I used to have flyers, handouts, free passes for the Long Beach show. They don't give those to us anymore. And they've actually put up notices at the front of the show saying all the old free passes are null and void. They're no good anymore, even though they didn't have expiration dates and everything like that. They're sort of an anti-collector and anti-coin club, it seems right now, which is very unfortunate. If that bothers you and you're going to Long Beach anyway, make sure to tell them when you're there, tell them that you need to support clubs, you need to give free passes to the clubs again, and maybe if enough people complain, they'll listen, but I doubt it, but that's all we can do.
They still let veterans in for free.
They still let veterans in for free? Great. That's good at least. All right. Other than that, I know if you're a member of the American Numismatic Association, you should have your ANA ballots by now. Make sure you actually vote. I know Walt was here last time telling us there's over 20,000 members of the ANA, and when we look at the number of ballots cast and how many votes go towards president each board member, it's under 3,000 almost always. So very small percentage of the members actually vote. So your vote can make a big difference, and so make sure to do that. Make sure to do that. It's one of your perks of membership is to have your say. And we're not really endorsing anyone except Walt Ostermecke did ask us to share information on Mark Leiterman for vice president. Last month, Walt told us about Mark, said he's really a friend of the coin clubs and wants to work on education. And Walt, who's been there, done that, been involved in the ANA for decades, told us that the opponent to Mark is not really interested in as much as Mark in the clubs and is more interested in making profit for the ANA, which, making money for the ANA is not always a bad thing, but Walt asked us to share this information. It's also been endorsed by a whole bunch of other former presidents of the ANA. You guys can vote as you choose, but we were asked to share that information and by Walt, and Walt helps us out a lot getting guest speakers, so we're doing that for Walt and Mark. So thank you very much for that. Any other announcements or anything? Yes.
Okay. Tomorrow, the Burbank Coin Club is having a appraisal clinic, for better words. It'll be from 10 to 12, and it's open. It's at the Jocelyn Center. It's the senior center down on Hollow, and customers will come in and bring their coins to get them appraised, and if they want to sell them, they'll be directed to put them in the auction for the club, and we'll sell them at the club meeting. So if anybody wants to come down, come on down. If you want to do it over here, talk to Mike. He says that they've been around for some years, and if you're getting enough volunteers to do the tables, you'll be doing okay. The other announcement is Sunday is the Ancient Coin Club Los Angeles meeting at the Skirball Center, just off the 605 freeway. And that's from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. 405, excuse me. Yeah, I don't remember where we take that from. Anyway, it's, and David Hendon is going to be presenting the lecture that day. So, anybody
So,
likes.
yeah, if anyone's interested in that event, it was Burbank Coin Club, and what day is that again? Tomorrow? Tomorrow, and then the Ancient Coin Club's meeting Sunday. So there you go. You can see Dennis if you have any other questions on that. And yeah. Other announcement, just a reminder, our next Coin Club show for the Glendale Coin Club is coming up October 29th. And so there's the information on that. If you guys need postcards or anything on that, let us know about that. Duff, you had something?
Yeah. On our speakers, we still need speakers for August, October, November. And I know that Greg, you're gonna pick one of those. I don't know if Phil, I don't know if you guys want to, anybody wants to step up and speak, let me know. But those are the 3 months that are open for the rest of this year.
And which months are those again?
August, October, and November.
So we need speakers for August, October, and November.
We have Greg for one of them.
And including those of you guys watching at home on YouTube, if any of you guys have presentations you'd want to do,
Yes.
it'd be real easy to connect you guys through StreamYard and get you guys to present to us. I mean, we're not limited it to just people in the room or people that drive to our meetings. So if you guys have a presentation you think would be good for the club, I mean, let us know. It's not that hard to do.
Another Greg too. So we get
Another Greg, yeah.
2 more Gregs.
Yes, follow up on
More
your
Gregs.
A&A thing.
Yes.
I'm returning to the summer seminar this year as a teacher.
Okay.
And if anyone doesn't, this is like a huge thing about membership. If you don't know about the summer seminar, it's the best deal and the funnest event in all of numismatics. You actually get to meet these guys you vote for,
Yeah.
which like, before I started meeting them, I didn't know any of them. And you get to sit down in the cafeteria. Anyway, it's a really, really fun event. And I highly recommend it. The library there is probably, I think.
Yeah, I've never been to A&A summer seminar myself, but I've heard almost only positive things about it. I've heard that it's very expensive sometimes, but there are scholarships available for young numismatists and even adults as well.
You find a vacation that includes room,
Yeah.
board, and activities.
Yeah.
It's, a quarter of the price.
Sure.
But that, you're right.
But I would say don't let just the expense of it. I mean, if you can get the time, that's part of it at the time to go there. But there are opportunities, and I know there's people here in our room that have received scholarships to go there even. So.
And if you're more interested in the business aspect of it, a lot of the big wigs, like I know, I know that some of the heads of NGC are going to be teaching classes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. I heard that like if you're interested in ever becoming a coin dealer or working for any of the major coin companies, it's just you'll meet more people. And just the contacts you make there are worth more than even any of the classes or anything like that. Just because everybody's there and you hang out with them, you have dinner, you
they
make
give
some
you a
friends.
food card for the cafeteria, and you just go sit with the seminar.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Very good. Very good. One other announcement, we did get a nomination for a new board member for our club. In our bylaws, we do have a spot available for a young numismatist to serve on the board, and we haven't had that for years and years and years. And we've received a nomination to have Ben Barry be a board member because he does help out. He's here all the time helping us set up, and he's been attending our meetings. And he's also in high school and he needs some more stuff on the resume when he's applying to colleges of activities. So I have no objection of that. We haven't had a formal board meeting in a while. We just really haven't had a need for it. So unless there's any objections, I think we should go ahead and accept his, we got a second there. I mean, I don't think there's going to be any objection because the position's been vacant for at least 10 years. Probably closer to 20, probably since you served on it last time.
I was one at Purdue, but this one has not happened.
All right. Well, I guess if there's no objections, then Ben, you're now Governor Ben. So congratulations. Ben, you want to tell everybody what you like about coins and anything? No. We're going to be sitting here till you say something.
Say yes. Say thanks. No.
Yeah, good speech.
All right. Thank you for your speech, Ben. Thank you.
There's a politician I vote for.
Knows when to talk and when not to talk, as always. All right. Anybody else have any other questions or announcements or anything? Otherwise, our guest speaker still is on the way, so we can't jump right to that. Anyone? Treasurer's report, we can get to that. It's pretty much the same as where we were at last time, give or take a little bit. We got total of $11,750 in total assets, and that breaks down to right around $2,000 of actual coins and stuff in inventory. There's 8,900. Actually, I got the bank statement right here. There is 89.57 in our checking and 1068.31 in our show account, and then there we got about $450 in cash, and that's before the meeting because everything's different now because we've taken in money and we've spent some money on refreshments, and so we're in pretty good financial shape. And Ben, we ready to do a 50-50 draw? Everybody buy 50-50 tickets that wants 50-50 tickets? Anyone else? Last call. Otherwise, Ben's going to pick a winner of the 50-50 prize. Do we have a total of what came in for that?
A whole bunch.
Good. Good for the club.
45.
45, so 22.50 to the club and 22.50 to the winner.
Yes.
Sounds good to me. 50 cents. Okay, we'll round it up to the nearest dollar.
Nobody has 50 cents a coin in this place.
Nobody has coins here at the coin club, that's for sure. Check your blue tickets when Ben reads off the winner, and the winner is
100780.
780 is the last three. Blue ticket.
Yes.
We have a winner, Greg. Congratulations. Make sure you give Greg 23 bucks there and sign him in as the winner on the prize sheet. Thank you, Greg. And thanks everyone for buying 50-50 tickets. That does help support the club. And,
Okay. All right. That's it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you very much. That will go over here. All right. I see that our guest speaker is here. David, are you ready to run right into it, or do you want to? Okay. Do you need a podium or anything? Or you just want to stand up here, or? Perfect. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get into it, but I'm going to have to get his presentation up. So the screen in the room is going to get a little crazy for a second, probably, but those watching at home shouldn't see any of this. All right. Let me go ahead and get his presentation up. And you guys have seen David Schwager before at our meetings presenting, so we again thank him for coming out. David is a member of a few different clubs here, down, including mostly Orange County, right?
In Long Beach.
And Long Beach. And then he's spoken to us before on several different topics, and author of the go-to reference on the sample slabs. And so if you ever have questions, or if you ever find some crazy, weird sample or promo slabs, he's one of the guys to get in touch with for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And David, our microphone is right around here, so as long as you talk in a normal voice, you should be picked up, no problem. I'll get this going. And if you want to, click this, you can have it, or I can do it when you want me to click it.
So
either
let
way.
me go to the
Let me just do this real first. So we should be on that screen only behind you.
Okay.
It's not going to be on here at all.
Cool.
And you just advanced it.
Cool.
So you know what to do from there, or you want me to click it, or
No,
however you
I'll
want to
do
do it? Perfect. All right. Thanks, David.
All right. Always glad to be back here at the Glendale Coin Club, the friendly coin club. So this talk is about collecting California tokens. Has anyone here ever been to California?
I have been to California.
Okay, it's very. If you haven't, it's very nice. You'd like it. So going to talk about tokens and metals. This is illustrated by my token and metal collection, which has to do with Orange County. This talk was inspired by John Duff's talk about Imperial County, so it's quite similar, so I was hoping you'd be here. But before we start, where is this place we're talking about? So it's, you know where California is. First, my Orange County collection. Where is Orange County? Orange County is in
David,
Central
can I have
Florida,
that?
of course. Yes.
I realize we're not sharing the presentation.
Right.
So let me figure out how to do this.
Contains the city of Orlando and Walt Disney World. Wait, I have the wrong one.
I gotta get this thing fixed anyway. I messed this up. Sharing its screen in here, but I'm not sharing it to the rest of everybody. So gotta make this smaller a second. Sorry, everybody. We'll get going in just a second. Present, share screen, window. We'll just do entire screen. I think that's gonna be easy. Share. And then we'll bring back up your presentation. And that starts with that right there.
All right.
Hold on, I gotta do one more thing here. Switch it down to the other screen. We're trying to use the projector here in the room and it's kind of working for us. There you go, David, I'm sorry.
Nice. Okay, wait a minute, I had the wrong one. Actually, Orange County is in the Hudson River Valley of New York. It's made famous by the TV show Orange County Choppers. No, wait a minute. Orange County is actually contains the city of Chapel Hill and is famous for the University of North Carolina. No, wait, it's in southern Indiana, Port Arthur, Texas, Vermont, Northern Virginia. Oh, here it is. Okay, it's the one right here in this neighborhood. It's right here in Southern California. So here are some of the cities that I'm collecting, right? So, of course, not too far from here, but a lot of these cities will come up later on. Not quite as big as LA County, but one of California's big urban counties. So why should you collect California tokens and metals? One of the questions here is, what's a token? What's a metal? What's exonumia? What are these just coins, right? So a good way of putting it is that what's the difference between a coin, a token, and a metal? A coin is money. A token is a substitute for money. A metal is not money. So a coin is something like a US quarter. Some authority has said, this is money. A token is a substitute for money. It's something that you maybe put in an arcade machine, put in a car wash, you use at a bar to pay your tab, that kind of thing. And a metal is something that looks like a coin or token, but isn't meant as money. It has artistic, religious, commemorative, or some other purpose. One of the great things about collecting tokens and metals is, have you ever heard people say something like, you should only buy one coin a year? Or you should have a box of 20, where you have 20 coins and that's it. Does anyone here actually do that?
I have like 1,000 boxes.
Right. Nobody does it. Nobody has just a few coins or buys only one a year. You like to buy because shopping is fun, right? So you can have your main collection, which is the thing you're really serious about. And the great thing about exonumia is you can be very serious, but a lot of exonumia is inexpensive and fun to buy. So you're at the end of the show, you spent most of your budget, you looked at the dealer's cases, you find that person has got a big book full of tokens and metals, you look through them and you pick out something, a few things for a few dollars in whatever your field of expertise is. Another great thing about any kind of collecting is the collector set decides what's in the set. There's nothing wrong with using albums, but I've never used coin albums because I don't want Dansko to decide what's in my set. I decide what's in my set. So my guidelines are, has to be something that is token or metal, right? It has to have the name of a city in this particular county on it. And that's actually about it. But you can set guidelines however you want. We'll talk about ways to collect later. So why should you care about California tokens and metals? One is local interest. People one of the main reasons that people get into collecting all sorts of things is it's about their home, their interest, right? So it's a little bit like collecting national banknotes. So here's the one national banknote in my collection. It's I live in the city of Fountain Valley. Fountain Valley was founded in the 1950s, so it's too new to have any national banknotes. I got one from the town that's a quarter mile away from me, Santa Ana. So that is national banknotes, or sometimes called hometown banknotes. So here's one from my hometown. This one in particular says it's from the William Pinnear collection. William Pinnear used to run Fullerton Coins, and he was president of the Orange County Coin Club, which is the office I now hold. So I have this as a connection with Bill Pinnear, even though we never had the privilege of meeting, unfortunately. Also, if you live in some parts of the country, you can get local tokens and metals that are in more established series, things that are in the Red Book, like Hard Times tokens or Civil War tokens. If I lived in, for example, Brooklyn, I might be collecting Brooklyn tokens, which include things that go back 200 years, like Civil War tokens from a bar. Like I used to have a Civil War token from a bar in Brooklyn. Right? I could get things that are right in my neighborhood. They don't have that things that old from around here, so they're mostly 20th century, more informal exodumia. So what are I'm going to talk about a bunch of different kinds of local tokens and metals. And there are a bewildering variety of categories, but we'll mention a few. And I brought my collection here, so we can take a look at it later on. So it's a 2x2 glory. One of the items you'll find are good fors. A good for token is one that's good for nothing. No, it's one that is good for things. So these would be used by a business in place of money. There are a variety of purposes. Sometimes they'd be used so their workers didn't have to handle cash. This one, for example, is from a bakery and says, good for a loaf of bread. So you would go to the bakery, you would buy, say, 20 of these for $1. And then when the bakery truck comes through your neighborhood, you give the truck driver 1 token to pay for your loaf of bread. That way the truck driver doesn't need to handle any cash and makes the bookkeeping simpler, right? They were sometimes used by bars. For example, before the 1930s, gambling was not exactly legal in the United States, but it was tolerated. So bars would have slot machines, pull tabs, and other games of chance, which would often pay out not in cash, but in these good for tokens, which you could then exchange for merchandise, or maybe they just give you cash when you to pay off your slot machine. Sometimes good fors were given away as promotional items. So you'll see one that says something like good for a cup of coffee. So you're at the annual street fair in your town and you give away tokens from your diner that say good for a cup of coffee. You hope people come in, buy a cup of coffee, and maybe they buy a stack of pancakes while they're there also. Now there's something interesting about this one. These small letters here that say LA Rubber Stamp Company. And we're going to get back to that. There's 2 types. You'll often see California tokens and metals made by the LA Rubber Stamp Company, which was a prolific issuer from the 1880s to 1960s. There's one-sided and two-sided. The two-sided ones are the genuine article. One-sided ones are later restrikes by a company we'll talk about a bit later. I was told earlier that if it says LA Rubber Stamp on it, it's not real, it's a restrike. But that's not true. The Uniface restrikes, Uniface one, one-sided restrike. So this is an original one from back in the day. If anyone collects so-called dollars, they made some of the so-called dollars, like the Santa Monica Breakwater, for example, another example of a California metal. There's another good for, a little hard to see, but I included this one from a place called Kit Kat Club because there seems to be a lot of crossover between coin collectors and cat lovers. Right, so that's always fun. Has the address on it, so you can look that up. This one's in Santa Ana. Local specialty. So wherever it is you're collecting from, there's probably something that is unique to that area. In my case, there's a whole bunch of tokens issued by the Disney parks, tons of them by Disneyland. So this is a metal that was probably made from the 1970s, nice high quality, high relief metal that's sold at gift shops. But whatever area that I'm collecting from, there's probably some other specialty. Like a lot of the farm counties in Central California have picker checks. The people who would pick tomatoes, pick strawberries, would pick a box of fruit or vegetables, then turn it in, and then the guy on the truck would give them a check, and they'd later turn in those checks so they'd get paid by the box. Or if I was in San Francisco, I might be looking at tokens for the San Francisco cable car or all the bridges of San Francisco, that kind of thing. Every area has something that's unique. Commemorative and historic tokens. There's a lot of medals that are made for the anniversary of this or that. This one was for a hospital in Orange, 50th anniversary. I assume it was given away to maybe people who gave donations or maybe the workers at the hospital, that sort of thing. Smush pennies. Now, some people call these elongated coins, but Don explained to me that the proper technical term among enthusiasts is smushed pennies. I don't usually include smushed pennies in my collections, but I got this one because I live in the city of Fountain Valley, and it's one of the very few things from that city. So this was from the Courageous Ranch, which was a pioneer house in the city. It was made for the 100th anniversary in 1978. And somebody put a lot of care because they found a current year cent and then aligned it perfectly.
And the back is stained. They actually stain it.
The back, okay, there's some additional treatment, right? So this is a top quality elongated stamp here.
That tower is now in the Fountain Valley Heritage Park and was moved from Ranges Ranch.
Right, yeah, next to the library, so it's still there. So elongated coins are another category of California tokens and metals. Coin club and conventions. We like coins, so sometimes we decide to make our own. Coin clubs make medals all the time. There were medals made for all kinds of shows. This one was for one of the CSNA annual conventions, this one in 1964. They still make them today. The ANA show, for example, has an annual medal, and that's in California every now and then. They've had them in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Anaheim. You know, a lot of coin medals that are by coin collectors. Car wash tokens. These were for self-service car washes, where the same thing where you didn't want to have an attendant to handle money. So you'd sell these tokens at a vending machine or have a cashier, and then people would go put those in. If you're lucky, you'll get one that's got the name of the city on it. This one is Sunset Beach, which I was happy to get because it's a town that I didn't have. And it's one of the smallest towns. It's an unincorporated community right between Long Beach and Huntington Beach. So many of these tokens and metals are quite modest, right? These were not things that were made to be cherished, which means they're fairly inexpensive today. And I don't even pay that much attention to grade. I'm very happy to have a brass car wash token that's been run through the machine a couple times. It's one of the great things about this cheap and cheerful sort of collection. Parking tokens. These would be, sometimes, say you go to a big downtown building, right? You want to park in the garage underneath the building. How do they validate the parking? You go in, do your business, and they give you a token to get out of the parking garage. Or you might buy a token at a machine to get out of the parking lot. When I was on a business trip to Pittsburgh, visiting AAA of Pennsylvania, so I worked for AAA in Los Angeles, they had one of these, and unfortunately I couldn't keep it. I had to use it to get out of the parking lot. Oh, I want this. It says AAA Pennsylvania. Okay. This is one issued by the city of Laguna Beach for free parking. So presumably they gave these away to stimulate tourism or give free parking on Sundays. Or I know that city allows free parking by churches on Sundays. It might have something to do with that. Gas station tokens. And this is an interesting one. For a little while in the 1960s, there were these self-service gas stations where they'd have no one working there. And instead you would buy these tokens at a machine and then put them in the gas pump to pay for your gas. Usually these will have the name of the gas station on this one. Like this one says Dory Oil. They only had those for a little while, mostly because have you ever noticed that every gas station has someone working there? Even if it's pay at the pump and no one goes there. And they're not just there to sell beer and Fritos. Partly a gas station has to have an attendant there to handle accidents, spills. They don't want someone to start pouring gas into the gutter or set it on fire or something like that. So you always have to have someone watching. So the idea of the self-service gas station did not last that long, which means that there is an ample supply of tokens, which have only been through the machines a few times. Yeah. Advertising tokens. You give someone a business card, they throw it away. You give them a hat, maybe they'll wear it, maybe they'll put it in their office and never look at it. Give someone a coin, and they will stay in their house for the rest of their life. Yes, exactly. So you give someone a token, and they will never, ever throw it away. That's why it's my assertion that everybody, no matter who you are, has some kind of collectible numismatic in your house. I don't visit anyone and tell them I'm a coin collector without them showing me that they have something, even if it's just change from their foreign trip or a 1943 steel cent that their grandpa saved 80 years ago or something. So these were given away as advertisements by this company, Aneo Industries. Who knows a little Spanish? What does Aneo mean?
I
Okay.
said a little, poquito.
Oh, piquito. Aneo means ring, and Aneo Industries makes washers, which are essentially rings. So this is a little token. It's got the nut, the bolt chasing the nut and saying, no, no, not without a washer. So Aneo makes washers, high-end washers for aerospace and military applications. They're still in business. And around 1968 or so, LA Rubber Stamp decided to get out of the token and metal business. They sold all their minting equipment, including all their dies and other equipment, to Aneo Industries. So if you think about it, making a blank is a lot for a metal token or coin is a lot like making a washer. So Aneo could use that, and they got into the token business. So they started making these advertising tokens. This one is dated not only with the year, but also the date, March 1969. No windy sales pitch this month, right? March in windy. So having all this stuff for making coins and getting into the coin business, they took all these dies and made a huge number of one-sided tokens that were restrikes of all kinds of dies that LA Rubber Stamp had been doing since the 1880s, and used these as salesman samples. So they gave these out in huge numbers. Some of the unused ones got out, and they're still available in large numbers today. So if you see one from LA Rubber Stamp, and it's printed on a stamp, minted on only one side, that's an Aneo restrike. And usually those are great ways to get rare tokens sometimes. Sound like you want to say something?
Most of them aluminum?
Almost all are aluminum. That's another way, yeah. Of course, lots of tokens and metals are aluminum anyways. Aluminum is common, bronze is common, brass, usually one of those, but a lot are aluminum because it's cheap, right? Although the main downside of aluminum is they don't work in vending machines. They're too light. So if it's anything that's supposed to work in a vending machine, yeah, it's got to be a little heavier. Speaking of vending machines, amusement tokens. So when I tell people the definition of a token is a substitute of money, they say, you mean like a Chuck E. Cheese token? Yes, like a Chuck E. Cheese token. So there is, Chuck E. Cheese tokens are avidly collected. Yeah, and not just by kids who love video games. They are avidly collected. Yeah.
Trying to get into all the different cities.
Yes, because Chuck E. Cheese, early Chuck E. Cheese tokens had the city on them. Chuck E. Cheese was founded in 1978 by Nolan Bushnell. Does anyone know who that is? Any video game, last classic video game enthusiast? He founded Atari in 1970. And a few years later, he founded Chuck E. Cheese because it was a way to sell his coin-op video games, right? That's why it started. So from 1978 to about 1982, when you bought a Chuck E. Cheese franchise, they would mint 5,000 tokens that had the name of your city on it. So Chuck E. Cheese was founded in San Jose. It's the first one there. It says San Jose on it, and you can get them with all kinds of other cities, mostly in California, because that's where the few were. But there were some in Florida, Minnesota, a few other places. And plenty of people try to get one of each, right? You say, oh, look, Garden Grove, I don't have it yet. Right? Opelika, Florida, I don't have it yet, right? That kind of thing. And there are varieties. There is cectokens.com, a website devoted to exhaustively cataloging Chuck E. Cheese tokens. So this is one from Huntington Beach, California. Usually there's, the word of the city is all crammed together here. This is the rare wide spacing variety. I sold that one on eBay for $50 for a used Chuck E. Cheese token, one that's probably been through the Space Invaders machine 1,000 times already. I think the most valuable Chuck E. Cheese token is the one from Santa Ana that has the name of the city misspelled. If you find one of those, you can get about $400 or $500 for it. There's only a couple of them. So there's a collector for everything. Transportation tokens. If you're a transportation token collector, what are you? What's the name?
A vectorist.
A vectorist, exactly. So if you're a vectorist, you collect transportation tokens, tokens that were used on streetcars, buses, bridges, subways, ferries. Here's a bus token from the only city in my area that was big enough to have its own bus service, Santa Ana. A lot of these transportation tokens have the city name in the middle, right? So they don't, so you can tell at a glance, even if they're worn or it's dark, that it's from the right city, so that the conductor on the streetcar doesn't accidentally take one from the wrong town. Transportation tokens and more. There is a bewildering variety of other categories. I couldn't go through all of them. You've got things like Masonic pennies. Mason lodges would issue tokens that have the name and city. So once again, you can try to get whatever area you like. There's challenge coins. That's a newer thing, issued by originally it was mostly military units, but it's gradually gone into all kinds of other government areas. A lot of police departments issue challenge coins. Religious medals, which will have the name of a place in a particular city. This is one thing, it falls into the category sort of a good luck token, but it's also because it's got the 4-leaf clover and wishbone on it, but it's also kind of a key tag. So you put this on your keys if you're a First National Bank of Santa Ana customer and you lose your keys, drop in a mailbox and the bank will help you get your keys back. So how do you collect them? One way is by theme. Plenty of people collect tokens and medals by themes. Like I showed you the one with the cat. That's really popular. For some reason, among coin collectors, there's 10 times as many cat enthusiasts as dog enthusiasts. I think there must be a psychological reason for that. Or tokens that have whatever it is you're interested in, a military theme, a religious theme, those that have birds on them, flowers on them, whatever you find interesting. Your town is another way to go. It's a big enough city, get them just from where you are. I mean, if you live in Los Angeles, for example, you'll never run out, right? Because a pretty big city has got an enormous number. Or try to get them from a number of cities in your area, which is what I do. I limited mine to one county in California, and I tried, although I will accept pretty much anything that has the name of an Orange County city, my real goal is to get one from every city if all possible. So I have all of these, but there's plenty of towns that I don't have. So still looking, right? I don't have Yorba Linda, for example, which is pretty big in Old Town, right? Okay. I don't have Dana Point, which is another town that's been around for 150 years, right? So they'll come across. Rarity and value, most of these are not that expensive. There are valuable ones. Mostly the good fours that are older are the ones that have more value. So if you go to the Long Beach Coin Show, there's always a dealer who's got a nice case of good quality, better California tokens and metals. And there are plenty that are $20, $50, $100. Mostly, I rarely pay over $5 for one. I just take a cheap one. It's a cheap and cheerful collection that I get at the end of the show. But there are some that are more historic and interesting. This is one that I regret passing up on. It was one that the County of Orange gave to World War I veterans. It's a nice presentation medal, about 3 inches across, high relief, with some nice art that shows one of the farms in the background. One of my other side collections is citrus crate labels, and it reminds me of the idyllic farm scene with the orange groves and the mountains and the sunset that you see on citrus labels from all over Southern California. So you can spend more, but you really don't have to for local exonuria. So how do you find out more about this? Well, there is a book. This is it, California Tokens by Charles Kaplan. This is a rather hefty book. Even that, it only has a fraction of what exists. This book was published in 1976, so it is badly out of date. It has hardly any pictures. It has very Spartan listings, but it is still the best reference that exists. So it's well worth picking it up. It's probably about a $75 book too. So it's a valuable reference. There's a supplement to it, which I've not been able to locate. If anyone has it, I'll buy it from you. Really, you probably want to keep it for yourself. Though. If I were you, I would keep it. But another way of finding out is by eBay and web searches. eBay is good not just for buying and selling, but for finding out what exists. Often, if you look up one of these tokens and metals, you'll find a little bit of info. Sometimes there's nothing but a listing of the thing being up for sale, but you might find something about the organization. So if you have metal that's a good for from a restaurant, maybe you'll find something about the restaurant.
Yeah.
What?
Googling the restaurant.
Googling.
Or the name.
And that's where you've been great in your research. Is yours is mostly you find out about who issued that token in metal, and then take a deep dive right into that. I mostly limit myself to what I can find out from the objects themselves, but you can definitely go deep into that. And one way is looking at, you mentioned, put the name of the place in. Also looking at the address is fun. Sometimes they have the address on them, so you can look up and see what's there. Like I showed you from that one from that nightclub in Santa Ana. I can look at, oh, it's a burrito shop now. Okay, should go over there and get a burrito. Okay. And sometimes the answer is just, I don't know. People made these, and the knowledge is lost to history. So where do you find them? A lot of dealers will have a box of tokens and metals in 2x2s, or a book of them. Local shows are great. I almost always look for a few at every local show. There's someone who has them. One of the at the Long Beach Coin Club, there's a part-time Exonumia dealer who, since he's learned that I'm interested in this kind of material, brings me fistfuls of it. I mean, almost more than I can buy, but he's a good supplier, so my policy is whatever he gives, and he's usually cheap. Whatever he gives me, I take it, and then if I sell excess or give them away, that's fine too. Before that, probably the best source, believe it or not, was not here, but I go to the American Numismatic Association convention every year as my summer vacation. There's a guy called Cunningham Exonumia from Michigan. He's got more California tokens than anyone in California got. So it's a bewildering variety. Another reason people bring them to me, I told you about my friend at Long Beach Coin Club. Sometimes people, knowing I'm interested in this, will just give them to me. Like, hey, this says Fullerton on it. Do you want it? Oh yeah, thanks. Okay. Also, there's a good chance you already have some local tokens and metals in your house right now. There's probably one around. You might have haven't realized it. And this is not just a thing from the past. They're still making them. Does anyone know what this building is?
It looks like that big glass.
It's the Crystal Cathedral in Garden Grove, now called Christ Cathedral. So I had some visitors from out of town. I took them to one of the local tourist attractions, Christ Cathedral. They have a gift shop, which has a bewildering variety of religious metals, including a few that say Christ Cathedral, Garden Grove on it. So yeah, they're still making it. And this works for anywhere. I've talked about being from California, a particular county in California, but it could be anywhere you like. It could be where you grew up, right? It could be another country that you go visit or have an interest in. Like there's people who collect things like hacienda tokens that were issued in Mexico and Guatemala and Cuba and other Latin American places. It could be your hometown. Maybe you can get Civil War tokens from wherever you grew up. Inexpensive. You don't have to put a lot of effort and thought into it. And one of the things I often say is that numismatics is connected to absolutely everything, because money is central to the human experience. It's not the only thing. It's not the most important thing, but when you study money, it's connected to art, history, science, engineering, anything you can think of. And that's one of the reasons why I love tokens and metals and numismatics in general, and coming to talk with you. Thanks so much.
Great, Dave.
One of our viewers at home, Greg Burns, longtime member of our club and also the editor of the California Numismatist.
Oh yes, we know Greg Burns.
He says that he got the supplement of the Captain California book from his kid, and maybe he still sells them. So maybe you gotta reach out to his son, maybe. Yeah,
thanks for the tip. I'd like that. Yeah.
And then Gringo mentions in chat that there's 5 available on Amazon right now if anybody wants them. Maybe that's the full book and not the
Okay,
supplement. I don't know, maybe it's a supplement.
I'm not
sure.
looking hard enough. Okay.
Maybe we're gonna
Thanks for
look
telling
around a little bit.
Go beyond tokens.
Anybody in here have any questions for David?
What was the name of the guy that developed Atari and then set up
Nolan Bushnell, and then
Bushnell?
Bushnell,
Bushnell.
right? And he has another connection to numismatics because there's now the American Innovation Quarters. One of them, I forget which state it is, might be New Hampshire. Their innovation is the first video game, right? Which
Yeah, and their dollar coin.
the $1 coin. Yeah,
That's
right.
pretty cool. Somebody here in chat, let's see who it was. Kyle Preston wants to know if you collect any tokens and medals from other states as well.
I haven't. I've limited myself to California for now. I mean, I've had some.
I'm
in the
sure if you
past.
saw something cool enough, you'd probably pick it up. But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've had Civil War tokens and hard times tokens that are generally from the east. So yeah,
you can
I
see
have
even
in
when
the
you
past.
focus just on one county, it's like it can be.
It's a lot.
It can be overwhelming.
Right. It sure can. Right.
And there's probably stuff that's not even in the book, and there's just all kinds of crazy stuff.
There's plenty.
Anybody else have any other questions? All right, well, David, again, it's always
All
a
right.
treat to have you come to our club, and glad you made it up here, and thank you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're going to go ahead and do our show and tell. Ben, can you grab me that show and tell list when you get a chance, and let me get the computer over here set up and see what we're doing. All right, first up for our show and tell will be Steve Sussman. This is gonna.
Have you changed the way you did things? Because in the past you went through ask everyone if they wanted to show and tell.
Yeah, well, we got a sign up sheet, and we're just gonna go. But if you want to add yourself to the sign up sheet, we always do. We always ask after we get to the people on the sign up sheet. Yep.
Oh, okay.
No problem. We will not go. We will not finish up without doing yours for sure. All right, Steve.
Okay. I don't know. I just have two coins, and they both. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I can show them here. I won't be able to share it on the screen here at the same time.
Yeah,
But they'll be up here. For those of you guys in the room, everything will be up on the table during the break.
I'm not sure why I selected them. They're basically, one coin is kind of a higher supply and a higher demand, and the other one is very low supply and lower demand. And I found it kind of curious because I have a half real. It's one of the first half reals that was minted in Potosi Mint. Rincon is it's a R on the right. Rincon is the original assayer in Potosi. It's 1574 to 1576. Then AU 53, beautiful half real. You won't see anything like it. There's only two that have been graded by NGC, one graded by PCPS. The ones that were graded by NGC are BFs and not AU 53. And you can see a few that aren't graded on eBay and the like, but you won't see anything like this. Now, what costs the same as that is I have a draped bust dollar, a $17.99, which is around an AU 50, but it was improperly cleaned by a cloth, a little bit years ago. And you can kind of, it's a very pretty coin. It would be worth, 4 times the value if it wasn't cleaned. But the thing is there's over 6,000 of them that have been graded, and there's a bunch that are genuine, and yet, there's only, it's a conditional rarity. It's only 67 that are really nice, but it just, when you compare them, they cost about the same, and yet one I think is really special and very rare, and the other one is much more common. It's just there's much more demand for the U.S. dollar set of 17.99, and that's it.
All right, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. Put those up there. Next up is Dennis Mack.
Well, started off with, I brought in a coin. I like to collect coins that are dated 1776 for obvious reasons. So I decided I would bring that in today to show it to you guys.
Let me switch to that one. We can show that. Got it.
1776. And then while I was digging out and got the Spanish reals, I figured, what the heck, I grab a few others that would be interesting. These are 2 pieces of 8 and 1 4 reals that was cut down from a piece of 8, but these are all treasure down. They were salvaged from the ocean, and they're pretty nice. And I brought along a few pieces of cobs, which is how they used to make change. They just cut a chunk off of a piece of 8. These were about 12 cents. I feel I was thinking of 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1, 2 bits was a quarter, 1 bit was 12.5 cents when they were used as currency. And these are running from, these coins are running from the 1500s to the late 1600s. And so we'll throw a couple of those there.
Right. Very, very cool.
And so that is, they'll be up here for you guys to come look at. I'll leave a magnifying glass so you can look at them closely. And
You find the ones dated 1776 go for big premiums?
yeah,
Yeah.
for some
Imagine.
reason, they seem to go for about twice what the coin should be.
Guess that's supply and demand at work. Thanks, Dennis. Greg Berkovitz up next.
Okay, let's see. Oop, upward. What we have here, last time I checked, it is the largest denomination piece of currency ever printed. It's 100. How much?
100 trillion.
100 trillion dollars. It's a Zimbabwe note. It's 2008, and probably at the time it was worth maybe $1.50. Inflation went crazy, and I forget the dictator's name who was running the place, but it's like I said, it's the largest. Thank you. I always want to say Idi Amin. I know that's not right.
Yeah,
It's Mugabe, and it's 100 trillion. It's 100 trillion dollars. Now, if you ever had to get change for that, this is it's graded 69, which is almost perfect. 70 is the same grading as coins. It's a 69. Now, if you needed change for that, they would give you 1,000 of these, which is only 100 billion, not 100 trillion. Same Zimbabwe note, 2008. And that was only probably worth about, it was less than $1. And at the time, it's graded 66. And at the time, here's the back of the 100 trillion. At the time when these first hit the market, you could buy packs and packs of these for like $2 or $3. A pack is like 100 notes, and there were so many of them that people were finding bundles in trash cans when they got shipped over. But now the 69, I think I saw it for. Didn't you say you saw one?
I think I was saying a couple $100.
Yeah, something like that in top grade, a couple $100, because I guess it's can't be one of a kind. There's like millions of them, but it's interesting. 100 trillion and 100 billion.
I like how they put a pile of rocks on it too.
Yeah,
Is there anything better in the country than that? I don't know. Never been there.
No. Well,
Pile of rocks.
maybe they were big in mining.
Must be a special pile of rocks.
Yeah. Anyway,
no, that's pretty cool.
there we go.
Now, Greg, you might know this.
What?
Famous deal in mine.
Is it really?
That's the nickname they have for rich musicians. The guys got rocks.
Now, you guys might know this. Patrick in chat says there's another bill that's actually a higher denomination than that.
It's it might be, there was a Middle European kind of, the Baltic states, I
Like
think,
Yugoslavia or something.
something
or-
like
yeah.
that came out.
Hungary, the Hungarian.
Is there
And
either that or one of the German
like I said,
hyperinflation or
the
something?
last time I checked it, and maybe something else is coming to the market, but 100 trillion is,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
that's crazy.
And I've seen people put displays of it before, and you
Oh, yeah.
probably have seen too, where they go 1, 10,
Exactly.
100, million, billion. Like there's, I don't know how many different notes it takes.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy. They put them
Like
all
I
together.
said, if you wanted to cash this, they'd have to give you 1,000 of the other ones, or 100,000.
This is where our money is going to. If the government keeps spending and printing.
Okay, but they got a long way to go.
We still got a little ways to go.
It doesn't take long once it takes off.
Well, these kind of notes, when we just print it and spend it, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Now, we borrow it, so we're taking money out of the economy and putting it back in.
Greg also wanted us to share this too. This is a card for Hitchens Photography. And Greg, you said this was the guy that made that book with the high dollar.
Yeah, a couple of months
notes.
ago, I brought in a book that had all the prints of the high dollar large notes, and they was interested in, and he's on eBay. And is it Hutchinson? Hitchens, yeah.
I think some of our viewers already found it on eBay and already bought a few of them. But if you haven't done that and haven't figured it out, and you like that book that he showed,
Yeah.
there's the information.
Hitchens. All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we got James Thompson.
All right. Well, this is something I picked up the other day on the topic of, they call this odd and curious money, although I would not say that this was meant to be money in what we would consider the traditional sense of money that you go and spend. This is called canoe money. It's from, this one was said it was from Thailand, but they made them all across Southeast Asia. It's probably from the 1800s. It's a bar of silver. Some people call them cigar money. I don't know why.
Cigar money or canoe money?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
It looks like a little. Supposedly, it looks like a little canoe, but it's really, that's more like back in the day. That would be treated more like we would treat like a 1 ounce round of silver. You wouldn't go spend that in the market. You'd be hoarding it for for inevitably when something would collapse.
You'd rather have those than your $100 trillion notes.
That one, I don't. They vary so much. I haven't hit it with a tester, but my guess is it's probably like 80. I need
Looks
to.
a little bit based, but not.
Yeah, I wouldn't really know. I need to hit it with a tester, and it's probably also got like smuts on it. So it's canoe money.
Well, cool. Thank you very much for sharing that. Greg Thompson, you're up next. Greg.
Well, I brought an older thing as usual. Here, you can put that. It's a Byzantine bronze from the early 11th century, attributed to the Emperor Romanus III. This is about 50 years before the First Crusade, and the Turks are like wiping the empire out. And they actually switched from putting the emperor on the coin to putting Jesus Christ. It's an amazing image. This is a particularly nice one of a more common type. And you can see he's upside down there, but we call this Christ nimbate cruciger. The nimbus is the vertical halo. The cruciger is the cross inside the halo. And he's got his chalice and his book, and he's got all the attributes of Christ there. This one is so nice, you can actually read the inscription around the edge, which is like 1 out of 1,000. And in Greek, it says Emmanuel. But the reason I brought this is I wanted to show the reverse. We'll see if this can show up in here. Maybe you could do it. So it says ISXS, Jesus Christos, weirdly in Latin letters, not Greek letters. Should be ICXC, right? It says Basil. That means King of Kings, which makes perfect sense because it's Jesus Christ. But actually, that inscription had been on coins for 2,000 years before this coin was made. King of Kings is actually a title that many kings of the ancient world had. And if you were a powerful king and you conquered adjacent kings, they had to pay tribute to you, and you would get the title Basileus, and that's Alexander or Achaemenid, Darius. These were all King of Kings. The religious context for Jesus comes later, and it's a big deal because they're saying, no, those other guys are just mortal kings. The true King of Kings is Jesus Christ, as is noted on this point. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Next up is Phil Iverson.
I missed the meeting last month because I decided to take a little vacation and go on the road trip for our first time in 4 years. Traveled up through California and Oregon and Washington, and spent a little over 2 weeks visiting friends and relatives along the way. Along the way, I decided to see if I could attend a coin club somewhere. So I was in Bend, Oregon, visiting my cousins and other relatives, and I have a coin club in Bend, but I missed it by 2 days. So I didn't time it very well, but I didn't know about it until after I got back. I didn't check to find out when it was, but I was going to go there if I was in the area. Well, I traveled up to Seattle area to visit other friends and relatives, including a good friend of mine who started collecting coins with me many years ago. And we were just youngsters, and we would take the bus down to downtown Seattle and visit the coin shops and do our collecting. And he still has his nice set of Indian head cents. I also visited other relatives in different cities. I went to Tacoma, and they had a coin club there. It's the Glendale Coin Club. I visited them specifically because I took along with me the token I've shown many people, the Tacoma smelter that I had written an article about in the California Numismatic. Nobody there had seen you in a long time, and one of the people who does the editor, bulletin editor, he went back and did some research and said the last one that he saw at the club was 20 years ago. So it was something they hadn't seen in a long time. I also decided to go out to another little small town called Kittle. It's a small town where my grandfather had a store. I also had a berry farm where my dad was born. And Kittle, they have what is now called the Washington State Fair, which they have every summer. And when I was working out my dad's, my grandfather's berry farm, me and some of the other people would go down to the fair and visit and see what we could find. I remember one day walking through the parking lot, there was all sawdust on the ground, kicked over. Well, it was $50 I found on the crack. So I was very happy to find that. I also happened to pick up a souvenir from the Washington State Fair. It is a smushed coin, as people would call it these days. On one side, it has a little horse on a looks like a carousel. On the back, it has some information about it. The fair, this is for the 100th anniversary. The fair was started in 1800. Imagine that, a state fair started in 1800. So this is the 123rd anniversary fair. It was opened every year through 1941, and when the war started, they closed it down. During the war years, the Army took over the facility, and it was used as an area where they would take the Japanese from Seattle, Tacoma area, and also from Alaska, and keep them there before they sent them off to internment camps to Idaho and other places. They reopened it in 1946. I've been to the fair many times. Had lots of fun. Went on all the rides. It's still a wonderful place to go. They get 1 million people every year at that fair. That's a lot of people. have 1 million people go to the fair every year. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Well, anyway, it's just a little souvenir I bought. It is a little off center because it's elongated. It's supposed to be struck on a 1-cent coin, but it's actually struck on a dime. So I kind of call this my off center air elongated. So I don't know what else to call it, but it's just a little souvenir I picked up along the way. So if you're visiting somewhere, you'll find a little souvenir to take home with you.
All right, thanks, Phil. John, you're up next.
So I brought a couple car wash tokens because, you know, it's token month and whatnot. So a little while ago, I was searching and I actually found, you know, one of the, you know, coins on, like I said, it doesn't show up so well, but the website. And then I was looking at the other coins, and all the other coins were made at the same mint. So it's called the Hoffman Mint, previously known as Hoffman & Hoffman, out of Fort Lauderdale. So all these tokens are basically made by the same manufacturer. So this one, let's see, where did I put
We
it?
can stick them right about there.
So this one, so, you know, it's a car wash token. You know, it says, you know, redeemable. And then, you know, it says double your dirt back if you're not happy at this location only. So I was able to, you know, it's specific to the phone number. So the phone number matches up with a location in Anaheim. Oh, and I forgot to mention where it says.
One of those in my book.
So basically, you can see right under the car, there's a H and a M. So Hoffman Mint. So basically, so, you know, here's one that's from 113th and Prairie. So basically, that's the intersection, and it's from Inglewood. So I looked that one up. So it's from Inglewood. So 113th and Prairie. And then the other side just has a picture of a soapy car. This one, same thing. This one's a car wash token. This car wash place is in the city next to me. It's in Pico Rivera. It just says Jackson Street, and then it says, you know, since 1969. So these are all Coinstar finds. So, you know, you go to the Coinstar don't want tokens. It just spits them out. So, you know, I just throw them in a jar, throw them in a jar, throw them in a jar. And, you know, like that speaker was saying, you know, they'll last for 1,000 years because no one has the heart to throw them in the trash. And, you know, I looked up this one that was the 113th and Prairie, and somebody was selling it for, you know, $1.80 on eBay, $1.25 for shipping. So, you know, somewhere, someplace, you know, somebody's, you know, might be willing to spend $3, or, you know, this one has a value of $1. So I'll find a couple of these. And like I said, this car wash is maybe 5 miles from my house. I'll go wash my car. But, you know, it says, you know, car wash, $1. So, you know, somebody puts this in the machine, and I think some of the car washes have deals where, you know, you put $5 in, there'll be 6 tokens or whatever it is. But, you know, they don't want people running off with their quarters. So, you know, a lot of car washes do these tokens because, you know, they don't want everybody just running away with all the quarters and, you know, doing this and that. So this one says 280 Los Alamitos Avenue, Long Beach. So it's another car wash token. So, you know, it has the address, it has the city. And then, you know, I could put it on the other side and you'll see where it has the H and the M. So see underneath the, you know, it says, you know, wash token and then no cash value. And just above that, you can see the H and the M. So these are all from the Hoffman Mint. All right, I just brought 4, so that's it.
Very nice. Thank you very much.
I have definitely become a buy the book before the coin person. And every time I go to a show and I go to Mike's table, he's always got these cool so-called dollars. And Jeff Shevlin and William Hyder just came out with a new set on the so-called dollars. This is a book, came today, so it's perfect for my show and tell. Perfect. And it's U.S. expositions and Pacific Coast expositions.
So under there, show people.
Yeah. But
Heavy books.
But they sent this along too. Warning. In the warning, it says, warning, the so-called dollar you are about to hold may cause long-term happiness.
That's really cool. There you go, Duff.
What's that?
Sell the sign to one of the dealers for the table.
Oh, yeah.
And I believe Jeff Shevlin
That's
and Bill
yours.
Hyder, they're still selling these right now. So if anybody's interested in these, they just came out with that book. You guys, there's a contact information or reach out to me and I can.
I'll put the contact information there. There's a phone number. You gotta call him. He's selling it directly.
Yeah, there's one right on here.
Yep.
Speaking of so-called dollars in California, I guess I'll skip to me and show and tell because I'm sitting right here. I brought this one right here. It's the California Midwinter Expo HK 245. And I believe I got this one from Phil Iverson at a show several years ago right there. And this is one of the, California so-called dollars. It's, popular metal, real dark, so you can hardly see it here, of course. But if you don't want to know what the image is, it's the California State Seal, and it's the one we used on our, 2016 Glendale Coin Club medal. So there we go. That's that. After that, we got Albertus.
I don't mean to discourage you, but I did not bring any coins.
Okay.
You're gonna get something other than coins.
It is a show and tell.
Should be show or tell, maybe.
It is.
Okay.
So I,
You gonna give everybody a new coin?
who will have it over this? I happened to be at my brother's coin shop in January, and I decided, oh, I'll take that. It's a $1,000 note with a 30 grade on it.
Year 1934.
Yeah. I've had $500 notes. I've had $1,000 notes. But as time went on, oh, I want that more than I want that. So I thought, well, I'll replace it. So that's my $1,000 note. I still need a $500 note to replace the one that I was at a convention in A&A convention in Salt Lake City, and I bought something from the guy, or the guy bought something from me, and he paid me with a $500 note. First one I had. That one also was something else. Then while I was at my brother's store, no, this is an interesting $20 gold note, which you don't see too many of. It's not graded, but that's okay. It's still a pretty nice bill.
Where's your brother's store?
Pardon?
Where is your brother's store?
Calumet, Hammond, Indiana. So these are the two bills. The next time I go there, which will be in November, I'll go to the store again and see what I can find that's interesting. So sorry I didn't have any coins. No.
Okay.
I'm
All
not
right.
gonna.
Thank you. Thank you. Did anybody else bring any show and tell tonight? Yes, we got one back there. Come on up.
So Jeff's been collecting coins since he was about 11 years old. And traditional numismatics, as well as he's got interest in several areas of exonumia. He's got some campaign buttons, lots of swished pennies, smushed pennies, right? Okay, we always call them swished. And so we were looking through his collection for something for show and tell, and guess what we decided on? Totally coincidental. California tokens. So we'll add that to the table for your interest.
A little collection here.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's a full book.
Oh, from all over California there.
He loves tokens, especially California. Love to drive through California, and he'd always look for.
Wow. Well, yeah, we'll take a look at that during the break for sure.
Hey.
Well, thanks for bringing that.
Sure.
Thank you.
I just got back from a wedding at the Guadalupe Valley in Baja. And this has nothing to do really with, actually it has something to do with this medal that I'm showing, or token, or it's actually engraved, so it's coin art. But this is the Virgin of Guadalupe. And if you look at the front, you can see the cap and the ray. I think it's a 1 peso coin, and it's been engraved. So all they left on the coin was the cap, the rays, and the wreath. But the back is what's really cool.
Right. Oh, wow.
I bought this for $3.75 off a bid board. And I'm like, what a work of art. And if you look closely at it, you can see there's different markings like around the little scalloping on the edges, and just it's so artistically done. And I think that's Jesus on the bottom there. See there? Yeah, baby Jesus below the Virgin.
That's a heck of a bit board by there.
Isn't that cool? Years and years ago, but it was something that I really enjoy, so I thought I would bring it and show you guys.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Put it up there for everyone to see. Thank you. Anyone else with anything to share? No? All right then. Well, thanks again for everyone that did show and tell with us. We're going to go ahead, and what we do is at the end of the show and tell, we do a couple giveaways for those watching at home, and you guys are all welcome to get on them too. You guys have all month to leave comments on the YouTube video. This month we're giving away these 2 coins here, a couple Swiss silver pieces. This is a Swiss 1 franc from 1963, and this is a Swiss 2 franc from 1964. I believe they're 835 fine silver, brilliant uncirculated. And all you got to do for a chance to win those is have left a comment on last month's video, and you have until the time I actually pull up the comment picker and pick the winner here in the next minute or two to still get in on that. Next month's prize will be, so to get in next month, you got once we end this live stream, it becomes a video. You can leave a comment on it. We'll have this 1975 bicentennial medal, and there's a 1960 proof dime that'll be up for grabs. So it's going to take me a minute or two to go ahead and pull up the picker and get the winners. I guess until then, you guys are welcome to check out show and tell here in the room. We got auction items, we got refreshments. But remember, we're still live on YouTube until I let you guys know. So if you're speaking or having a conversation around here, it might be broadcast. Just a fair warning. So thank you guys again, and we'll go ahead and pull up that stuff here. All right. I need to get the website up. Hold on a second. YouTube random comment picker. Now I need to go get last month's link. Last month's link. I need to go to my page. And sorry I can't share the screen while I do this, but you guys just have to trust that I'm picking the right winners here and telling you who the pick. And that is an ad popping up. We'll get the link. Copy that. And put that link into the picker. Include replies, no duplicate entries. It looks like we have 36 people that commented last month. This is for the Swiss 1 franc. I'm picking the winner right now. And it is B12Y5E is the winner of that one. B12Y5E for the 1 franc. I'm going to also pick the winner of the Swiss 2 franc right now. And that is DTT. DTT is the winner of the Swiss 2 franc. So congratulations to B12 and to DTT. Thank you very much for that. Again, that's for those 2 coins. Send me your information. We'll get those in the mail to you. Next month, leave the comment on this video right here, and you'll have a chance to win one of those 2. This one's pretty cool, the bicentennial medals. You got some old stamps there from the bicentennial too. Really cool. Again, thanks again to David Schwager for being our speaker tonight. If you out there want to be a speaker at an upcoming meeting, get in touch with us. We're inviting you to do that. Otherwise, I guess we'll see you next month. Our next meeting is July 14th. But in the meantime, if you're in Southern California, stop by and see us at the Buena Park show next weekend or Long Beach show 2 weeks from now. All right, that's it. Thanks again, everybody, and have a good night.